Hello, my name is Mike Mills. I'm a past international president of the Federation of Jewish Men's Clubs and sponsor of the Yiddish Alive Affinity Group. On behalf of our leaders, Al Davis, Joe Rothstein, and Esther Shear, we want to welcome you to tonight's talk by our very special guest, Leah Hochman. Yiddish Alive began exactly 1 year ago, and we've been meeting bi-weekly to practice and or learn Yiddish by telling stories, jokes, singing, and much more. We currently have approximately 400 people in our network. Leah Hochman was born in the village of Pohorsk, Poland, which is now in the Ukraine, in 1921. Leah grew up in an observant family with 4 siblings. In November 1942, her family was taken, along with the 9 other Jewish families in that village, to a ghetto in the city of Kamarno. She escaped the ghetto minutes before it was liquidated and lived in disguise and on the run for the rest of the war, passing as a Gentile. Her story of survival is unusual. She said she hid her identity, but not her body. In January 2011, Leah spoke publicly for the first time at a private school in Toronto. Since then, she has spoken to many different groups to share her experiences and to spread the message of hope. Leah is a very much in demand speaker, and we are quite honored to have her speak to us both in Yiddish and English about her experience. Leah will speak for about 1 hour and welcomes your questions via chat. We will probably not have time for a live question and answer, but she promises that she'll answer all of your questions if you provide your email. Again, provide your email in the chat box, and she'll get back to everybody. So Leah, I am so honored that you could join us, and we are so happy to have you. I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Okay, das gehört immer. Now you can start. Okay, is it possible to highlight Esther? Is this how it's going to be? Okay, so Imaretze Esther or here. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
I am very happy to be today and to be able to express myself in my own language, which is always Yiddish. Baruch Hashem, He blessed me with 3 diamonds, 3 daughters. From the beginning, I said that you be in a Yiddish home. We medavret Yiddish. This one is born Canadian, but we still didn't give up. Even with her, I started and we needed Yiddish. Now, to tell you a little bit from my own home, that really how it was, how that all began. I know that, the introduction was very nice. Thank you very much for the introduction. And I had to just to add a few more things about my old home. You see, my father inherited, we called it a priceless treasure. That was Sefer Torah. So we had our own Sefer Torah. And we had every minyan, every Shabbat, and every holiday. They called it the high holidays. We never had low holidays. The thing is that that whatever I learned how to learn Yiddish in the street, it was a time that I hung on to that language very, 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 very careful. Because I spoke in my dream in Yiddish, and that was very dangerous for me when I fell asleep to give up who I am. But first of all, before I tell you all this, let me just add a few things from the home, the old home. My father and my Zaidi Olav Shulam, he put on 2 pair of twill. They got the first one regular twill, and the other one Rabbeinu Tam's twill, they call it. That was the Zaidi. He was in from here, it all began. I just picture when I close my eyes and I see Friday night, my Zaidi and my father, they wear the strammel, the Beckische, with the gartel, and my mother, only the lights on the table, the Shabbos light. Because you see, we didn't have electricity, if we didn't have running water in the house. That was the life in the village. Not just in the village, it was a lot in the cities as well. It was very, very hard. So that's the way I grew up, with Yiddishkeit. My mother used to say, when I want to say something, not the Yiddish. Als ze vergessen, we zeggen, het Yiddish. Red Yiddish. And so my Yidden red Yiddish. And she had expression for everything, no matter what to do. But she used to say, Hind is Montag. In Morgenmatchen is Dienstag. I think, why is not the Morgenmatchen? Why is the Matchen? She said to say, Morgen im Yetzer Hashem. A Hind, they would do. And the Busse Hind, but that's what happened today. And tomorrow is history. But what can happen tomorrow is a mystery. We don't know. In that way, we have to stand Hashem. If we say, Im Yetzer Hashem, but you made it a shortcut, Matchem. That also, Im Yetzer Hashem. That was the law, but I grew up. We didn't, we weren't rich. Our livelihood came from farming land. And that we were sort of like farmers. So we had cows, we had the horses, you know. The horses were helping in the work, to work, and also our transportation. There was no bicycles even in the village, only horse and buggy. That was our, and the rest walking. We lived 10 kilometers, the closest village was city, was 10 kilometers away from us. Because we needed kosher food, and we were only 9 Jewish families living in the village. So we didn't have a kosher, we didn't have a shoichet, we didn't have so much. We had some small things, but we needed meat or something, we have to go to buy it. And whether you buy it in the Rutki, Sitki, the Rutki, but the city. So sometimes it was very hard because when they came, now you go in to buy ready-made everything just to cook it. It wasn't like that easy. They bring it home, maybe have to make it kosher. The meat was never made kosher by the butcher. And that, the life was completely different. Let's say we started, if you know that for Shabbos to have lokshen with yoich, we had to make the lokshen, to make the dough and to make the lokshen, to kind of make a big like a matzah, and then roll it up and cut it up and make noodles. The life was very, very tough, but you know, you should never get challenged what you can get used to. We got used to the life like that. And we were never envious on anybody. Why? Because everybody was in the same situation. We didn't have, that one is better and one is not so good. So we were not envy of anybody. And we helped out as much as we could, each other. But the highlight was better on Shabbos when you go, we had to have early. You see, we didn't have a synagogue. We had one room, a small bedroom in a larger kitchen. In the beginning, my Zadie and Bobby used to occupy the little bedroom, and my father with 5 siblings. I came one of 5 siblings. I had 3 brothers and 1 sister. We all lived in the kitchen. Why? Because there was not one room. So the kitchen was when we were cooking, the kitchen was when we were eating, the kitchen was everything. Yes, oh yes, we were praying Shabbos in the kitchen. And that was the life. Nowadays, so it's so beautiful. People can get rest and go to shul. And they daven. And the davening is different and everything is different. But I go still back to my old home. And I still remember how it was. We were so appreciative of every single thing that we got. But it didn't last too long, till 1939. All of a sudden in the morning, everybody was happy, everybody. All of a sudden, cries, everybody's crying. They declared the Germans the Clay War, the Germans and the Russians split up Poland in two. So we were 2 years under the Russian regime, from 1939 to 1941. To tell you that we did not have exactly a living, we didn't live, we existed. Because whatever they liked, they took it. They did without asking. And what it wasn't so important for them, so that we had to share. That little bit that we had to share. But they got used to it. And we thought that maybe because they started bringing in the families, the Russian, and they started making the schools with the Russian language and everything, we started making plans for a living, to make a living. It didn't happen that way. In 1941, it was already almost at the end. My brother, I had, as I said, I had 3 brothers. My oldest brother was married. He was called to the army to learn, just to learn for 41 days how to use firearms. Before the 41 days were over, somebody pointed a finger at my father and my brother. But they, the Germans, they came and invaded the place where we live in Poland. They started the war for the Russians, but they started on Polish occupied by the Russians. My brother was in the army at that time, and the same minute the German took over, somebody pointed a finger at my brother that he's a Jew. They gave him a shovel, a spade, and they forced him to dig his own grave. And we have given up, they shot and killed him. We didn't know about that. From then on, the really, really trouble started with us, with the war. There was so, every day a new law came out. Today they took over one thing, tomorrow another thing. It came by 1942, there was starvation in the house. There was not a single potato left in the house, nothing. We had, you see, whatever we had, the grain, whatever we had, we were farmers, so to speak, everything was taken away. And so there was starvation. People started swelling up from hunger. That's what I went through. This is a lot of things that I went through. What happened then? One time, they left only with the bed to sleep in it. In the middle of the night, they surrounded the police, surrounded our house, pulled us out from the they wouldn't let us put in any a light jacket or something. Whatever we had on our body, that was it. They gathered all the 9 Jewish families that lived in the village, kept us under lock. In the morning, they came horse and buggies, loaded them down from the buggies, and delivered that to the ghetto in the city of Komarno. That was the 2 cities. The village was 2 cities, Rutki and Komarno. To Rutki, we went, but we meet by about 10 kilometers. In Komarno, was 12 kilometers away from our village. No matter what you did, we had to find a place to stay. Somehow my brother, one of my brothers, we were taken from the house 4 people. Both my parents, one of my brothers, and I. My mother was able, one day was robbing, but they didn't have to rob, they took away, they cleaned out the house clean. They didn't have to, they wouldn't let them take even a light jacket, nothing. So there was, we saw.
Tell them, you're telling
Hellman.
Hellman, you want to tell them Hellman went out the window. That's what you forgot. Tell them now, but Hellman.
But the what?
That Hellman, that your mother pushed him out the window. That's what you missed.
Okay, so because Bible before only was, the older brother was already killed. They got his own grave. He was married. The other one, the youngest one, because three brothers, the youngest one, my mother was able to push them out, take from the bed, put them out through the window, open the window. It was November. It was cold, freezing, frozen in snow. He climbed climbed the ladder in the attic, and he was hiding. So they took away only us four because my sister was married at that time, and she was living in the city of Rutki with her husband and two children. This is where they died of there. Everybody died. But my brother was hiding there. My mother broke her hip before the war, and she was limping. So she came, they left her behind because she was hopping. And the police, they had to go to another place, a Jewish place, to get the other people because they robbed everything, cleaned up the house, so they divided. You take this and I take this till the ashtray. Everything was taken away. So the thing was when they got us the horse and buggy, so glad they got us to the ghetto, they got us in one little place, not that they let us go wherever you want. But we had to find a place. To find that we had a place, there were 18 people in one little room. There was room only for one person, but we were four. Both my parents, one brother, and I. So we climbed out. Only my brother was it. We climbed, both my parents and I climbed on the open attic. It was very cold. My mother kept me in her arms. I had a prophetic dream. This one taken the first miracle that had. That's why I called it the miracles of Hashem. All of it, the miracles of Hashem. This is the very first one. I had a dream that I was shot by Ukrainian policemen. And I felt the blood was running down my back, and I felt the bullet in my chest, and I felt that I'm dying. So my mother said, wake de op, stop wecken alle Kinder, the Menschen. Zijn hingering, ze schlufen. The people don't wake up because there's some people, and you're going to wake them up when they're hungry. In the hunger, at least let them sleep. I felt that everything is caving in on me. And I had to run, like something is pushing, go. I didn't explain my dream to the parents. I didn't say a word. I found in the dark the ladder that we climbed up to the attic, climbed down, led them both to the attic. Found my brother was sitting already waiting for me because there was no room for him. He sat by the door. And I said, like you see, I'm shot, I'm killed. They killed me, and I don't want to die in the ghetto, get me out. It was so that we called him the investigator a day before he was said, in case of a fire, we can find a place to escape. It wasn't a fire. People were sleeping. It was pitch dark. But he thought that my mind went, and that was that we left the house. About 15 minutes later, it took about 15 minutes to get to the other side from the ghetto. When we left the pitch dark, all of a sudden, light everywhere, screams and yells and barking of the German dog and everything. Everything happened on the same day. I never saw my parents again. They liquidated the ghetto. There were thousands of people, a few thousands of people in the ghetto. They took away every single bill. But they hit the shot, was fired. We started running, my brother and I, because once I left my parents, I never saw them again. We ran to a place, and with the cows, in the morning when the farmer came to feed the cattle, we told him something what happened. He took horse back, he went to investigate. He came back, he said, you are Jews. I said, yes, we are Jews. How did you escape? He said, not a single soul is left in the ghetto. Not the one single person, dead or alive. They took away dead people alive. There were many trains prepared. Must have been police, not the police, the military must have been there. and everybody would take it away like garbage. To this very day, I don't know when they were buried, what happened, nothing. That was the first miracle that we were able to escape between my dream and coming to the end. 15 minutes, 20 the most. We had no watch, everything was taken away from us. From then on, I had to go on by myself and my brother. I had to skip a lot, and I just give you a little bit of pointer here and there to put in some name for later to ask questions, if it's going to be a question, but it's going to be, I don't know if they thought about the questions going to come later, whatever's going to happen, but I give you just a few more to see why I call them the miracles of Hashem. I wrote in a little book, it's about 100 pages, about the miracles of Hashem. And that was the very first miracle, because that what happened to me. My brother and I escaped it. Next, we found ourselves we had to walk till our own village. We have to find a place. We found a place in the attic that was a lot of hay. It's a big establishment. In about 5 minutes walk, what the Germans, they have the headquarters, the German headquarters. I said, it's going to be a safe place to hide. And we know that it's going to finish. Poland was defeated in 10 days. It's going to take another 5 days. It's going to be finished. Didn't know, but it's going to take that long, and we're going to be in big trouble. No matter what you did, and no matter when we bad, Hashem was always with me. I had the feeling he sent always, this is a little reason that I have to tell you about. But right now, let's just make another 2, 3, and then go back to the reason what I'm telling you that. Somebody developed a cow. Who was the somebody? We were hiding 4 of us this time. My sister-in-law, when her husband was killed, my brother, the older brother, that dug his own grave, the sister-in-law was alive. She went to investigate in her home. Over there was empty. She came running to the worn house. Two were empty. And she was after, I don't know, at night in the garbages, they only used the Jewish people met only in the garbages because they look for some food, the starvation. The starvation is, this is the worse than anything. Only water with water, you cannot live with water alone. So she was alive. So now we brought also the younger brother that my mother told them badly saved them because she came back. She was, as I said, she was limping. So when she came back, my said, go back. So they looked for one person. We found the younger brother, and we were 4. The brother that escaped with me, plus the younger brother, plus the sister, and I. 4 people. One night, somebody coughed because we're hungry and thirsty, and the store, and there's a hay in the dust. Somebody's like, they came, police. A lot of policemen surrounded. It was a big establishment, and got us all to get killed, all 4 of us. When you got to that establishment with the Germans, they had the big headquarters. 2 Germans took care of us. The younger one, Tadeusz Stravinsky was his name, I remember. He liked me for some reason. He said, he pointed the finger to the other German, that I was going to look with the cook. To work with the cook, for me, it was a good thing. I'm going to peel potatoes. Maybe he give me something to eat, even too late. I was so hungry that I licked the plates where they left over the Germans, anything. Because when you were hungry, you should never, ever, ever had that feeling. My God. Das kann man nicht beschreiben, man kann nicht beschreiben. Wir können nicht erzählen. But took her to kill. Well, the three let them go work in them and them, mark the stalls, do something, and I'm gonna work in the kitchen. And from the kitchen every night I went to sleep with them together. And in the morning I went to work to the 5 days later, the same German took me aside. He said to me, take your family and disappear. A German? What do you mean disappear? Tomorrow morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, you're gonna be taken away. Do you have to spell what they're gonna do to you? He said to me. Well, he said that in German, but I would understand what he was saying to me. Yiddish is very similar to German, to the German language. I took with the four is a crowd. We couldn't go like that. We had to split up. My brothers both went one way, and my sister-in-law the other. Both went. We were two, my sister-in-law and I, and both brothers. Can you imagine what do you say? How do you say goodbye to them? See you where? We didn't know we were going to get kicked in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So where do you go? We don't have money. We don't have anything. And even with the money, we couldn't do anything because we are Jew. This is the thing when we are Yid, there is a Yid, they're going to hargen in the Yid. It was tragic. It was scared, but we're going on. Some we saw a light from far. So we said a goodbye. My sister-in-law went and I went away. We are alive. We went to the light. It was so happened that she had a pillowcase. Maybe she had a cold and she had a pillowcase to wipe the nose. So they gave her the pillowcase. There was Ukrainian people. And she said, for a pillowcase, I keep them both over the night. In the morning, I went out and I found two girls. They escaped from the ghetto in Rutki. In Komarna, when we were taken, was liquidated, the whole ghetto. But the ghetto in Rutki was still available. And they escaped from the ghetto in Rutki, deliver a message to me. Where did they find me? Did I have a house? Did I have anything? But they made where they're going to look for me. But Hashem came the way, the working in a way that I always had a connection. Something about always connection. What is the message? Be dressed like a shiksa, he said. Because there was a difference, the people, the Jewish people dressed differently, and the Ukraine people dressed different. So it was before my wedding. This is a long story, I'm now going back. I had a trousseau. And in the trousseau, there was a big, like in a box. And in the box, they might not, whatever you pack, put this is going to be for the door. This is down for the top, this is the naden, this is the naden. So the material was that there was no time to make the dresses. So my sister-in-law said to me, don't put all the eggs in one basket. And she took her trousseau, in my trousseau, gave it to a woman. This woman was okay, and she gave me stuff. I was able to exchange, to buy a serdek without sleeve, a sleeveless serdek, in a big, big skirt. That's what they wore. And then I had to show that I'm a goye, because I had to pretend that I am a goye, and I wouldn't put so I put the medallion, a little medallion, the mother with the kite, with the kid on the neck. So they said, and I did to show that from far, in a kerchief like them, and a long hair, and they braided them. And I looked in the mirror and said, they say, if you look like a duck and quack like a duck, maybe they're going to think that you are a duck. That's how it was. I didn't believe myself that that's me, but that was me. Now we need names. My name is Leah. One is Esther. Esther because it says Stefka. And the other was Rachi. And Rachi because it says Maria. I said, oh, no. I don't want to, my name is not Maria. But I'm going to be killed. I said that I had a Yiddish name. But how can you make a Yiddish name and I'm a Goye? I picked the name that Hashem created the first woman ever. It's Adam and Eve. In the Ukraine, it's Adam and Eva. So my name was Eva, and Vasilishka, a pure Ukrainian name. And I knew Ukrainian perfect, the street language. You see, when I was 5 years old, I spoke 3 languages. Polish and Ukrainian, we spoke in the street. In the house, only Yiddish. A matter of fact, the Mama hat allemal gesagt, and that, misch doch das, das ist ins. Whatever it was, I learned the language with the children. There was no children in my age, so I spoke with them. And by 5 years, before I had went to school, I knew then the street language, not the intelligent language, I needed the street language. And that was good enough for me. And now we all 3 went down 12 midnight in the daytime. We walked 28, let's say around 30 kilometers to the big city. And that was the reason. Usually the people without documents, everybody had to have a document. And people who don't have a document were captured and sent to Zwangsarbeit to Germany. It's forced labor. It got forced labor to Germany. So we were walking there, and one day and another day, you were hungry and thirsty, and then you have no place to sit down in the snow. The 2 girls say, can't you see that they are dying? That was the hole in the barbed wire. The ghetto was still in the city of Sambor. It was a Polish city of Sambor. They smuggled them into the ghetto. What happened to all the Jews that kept it out? And they had their wish, they all got killed. Now, I had 2 days before I still had my brothers. I had my sister-in-law. Everybody was, I felt that I'm like an onion. You know, that has a lot of skin. First, my parents got done, my brother, my parents. And now I led the 2 brothers. And now my sister-in-law. And now the 2 friends. And I'm all alone. Where do I go now? I have one choice. Excuse me, I have just to take one sip. Amen. I started knocking from door to door. A woman opened the door for me. And I said, please, can I sit down my feet? There was no place to sit, no place to stay. I fell on the floor. I fell on the floor, closed my eyes, and she went to sleep and left me there, that she saw that I have the medallion. And that medallion that showed at that time, she was not allowed to let me in without a document. Without a document, you couldn't do anything. I had a good sleep, you know, because I was so tired. My eyes are open up. What am I doing here? And then everything came coming back. And I remember the first miracle and the second miracle and the 3rd miracle, because how did they know where to find me? How did they know to deliver a message? How did they meet my brother-in-law? The thousands of people in the ghetto, how did they meet my brother-in-law? One after the other. And I see there's so many miracles. I said, Hashem is going to take care of me. Let's make just a list what I've got and what I'm missing. First of all, I need a document. I don't have any. I need a penny. I don't have a penny to my name. I don't have footwear, or you'll have galoshes and socks. Galoshes. In the galoshes, I walked 30 kilometers in the galoshes because it's destined. If Hashem wants you to live, no matter what you do, you're going to live, because Hashem gave you this at the time you're going to live. And that's why, you know, but then see what I've got. I don't want it, it's okay. But I know Birkat Hamazon to pray, you know, after they eat the bread, the Birkat Hamazon. And then I knew the Kriyat Shema before you go to sleep. So I know when you go to sleep, you have to say Kriyat Shema. And since I was a little child, then my father was teaching the younger brother because he was the teenager. And I learned it by heart and I memorized it. I memorized it, Tute. And now it hit me. I really have something very, very special. Now that's special. I'm taking you 1 year back. This is already 1942. I'll take it to 1941. Tell you a little story. I think it's very important to me to know that it is sort of like the whole connection. There's in the city of Rutkiv, they said 10 kilometers away, there was a rabbi. The rabbi, they couldn't go to him and just make an appointment. You have to make to the gabbai, write a quittel, and on the quittel, who's geistet zum rabbi, who's willst du wissen über a rabbi? What do you want to know from the rabbi? This is the question I have to ask him. And that's why I'm going to, and then you give the quittel, and the rabbi calls you in. My father believed in that rabbi. He said the rabbi had open eyes. He called him the rabbi with the open eyes. I couldn't understand at the beginning why. I said, Father, is he a fish? The fish doesn't sleep, he has open eyes. He said, no, he has open eyes because the rabbi can see the future. One day, a week, I don't know when, my father came home with a piece of matzah. Had a piece of matzah. The rabbi gave me the piece of matzah and said, the matzah is for my afikomen, from the Seder plate, from the afikomen. Give that little piece of matzah, make 3 little pieces, and give 3 children, your daughter and 2 sons. Tell them to sew it on a piece of cloth and hide it in a malbush. And a malbush, something that they're going to be wearing all the time. Never take it off from your body. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, you always have to have that matzah on you. Don't take it off. My father said, a miracle, this is a miracle. It's not a regular rabbi that he's going to say, take it and go. I mean, let's face it. With a rabbi going to say, do that so and so. We did exactly what the rabbi said. I made the 3 pieces of matzah, sewed it on for both my brothers. I think they called it a lab tzidekli. The lab tzidekli, you know, they cover up the tzitzis, that they have in the tzitzis. And that they always had it on the body, and they didn't take it off, and I didn't take off. And while I was on the floor, but that woman, I talked with, and I have that little piece of matzah. Since I wasn't allowed to take it off, I went to sleep with it. And in the sleep, they took me out of the bed. They didn't let me dress, but I didn't take it off. Even to go to sleep, I had to have it on me. Do you see now? That little piece of matzah, I found it. My eyes opened up wide. I became alive. I am not afraid now. I don't go to the ghetto to get killed with them. Hashem is with me. And I took it to my mind that whatever I do, Hashem is always with me. I felt, believe me, I felt it then. I feel that to this very day, Hashem is always with me. He helped me then. There were so many miracles that I went through that it's unbelievable. I cannot put it in a short time like that. But there's so many miracles that it's unbelievable, humanly unbelievable. 2 policemen holding me in the hand, they have only to ask my identification. But this is a story, one and the other. I don't know if I have time to explain.
You have 20 minutes. You still have 20 minutes.
20 minutes. In the 20 minutes, I'll try to explain a little bit how I came to that, but I have that little matzah. I came to the city of Drohobych, a big city. Came to a train without a ticket, without anything. Nobody saw me. I didn't have even a hanky. I didn't have a glove, nothing in the winter. And the galoshes, and nobody saw. I mean, I was protected. I felt that I protected. How it went there and how it happened, It's exactly happened one after the other, a lot of things. It couldn't happen the second, if it didn't happen the first. It's a chain. But I cut it in the middle. That was the December 24. I don't know anything what they're doing. Yes, I was a radio with them. I tried everything. They didn't force me to tell me what to do, how much I know. I was so in their eyes that I'm 100% like them, and they believe me. But I have to escape. Where do I go to December 24? There was still a ghetto in the city of Drohobych. I was able to go to that city and to that in the Drohobych. I had to go and hide. And only then the ghetto, the Jewish ghetto, was still there. I told them that I'm leaving to my parents because there's a big holiday. Do I know what they do with the trees? How would they eat? What they dance? I don't know what they do. I was never a guy in my life. And you know that it's unbelievable. 3 days I was with them, they couldn't believe it. But when I told them, you know, certain things, they see I'm a Sikh. They talking like perfect Yiddish. They said that the famous kid, mother start crying, the woman. Famous kind bist du, she asked. Famous kind bist du? Whose child are you? 3 days I was there. I came back. The woman that she kept me for a few days, the woman I said died. She had to go to surgery. She was a sick woman, died. Now I still had to have the place. Why was with that woman? There was somebody with potatoes, but this I have to let out because it's too much. In 15 minutes, I want to go straight to tell a few miracles that is impossible to understand. A woman called me to buy the ceiling. It was in the hallway with whitewash. She put a table, on the table a chair, and on the chair a basket, and I climbed up and was hanging the brush and I was painting the ceiling. And I hit a shot and a scream, and a woman was shot. That day, there was not enough graves in the next city. That was Drohobych, and that was Borislav. From the city of Borislav, they walked to their own death. They had to walk. They kept them on the lock, and then they took them to the cemetery, killed, and they come back to work. That's what they did. The woman tried she wanted to live, so she ran. She ran, let's see, this is the wall I painted. In the back is the backyard. And they shot and killed her and continued to go. I fell and I broke my right wrist, which is broken to this very day. This is my right hand. This is what I had. Now, how can I survive? With the hand, they gave me only one time a day that I had to eat a little food. Nobody gave me a penny. Nobody gave me a change of clothes. Nobody gave me anything, only the food. And for the food, my right hand is gone. And I'm a righty, but the left hand, I cannot do nothing. There was starvation. The woman said, Eva, stop crying. I can take you to the hospital. They put it in a cash. Oy vey, to the hospital. I have this paper. How am I going to go to a hospital? What am I going to say? I said, you know what? You have a dead woman. That's how much everything was. The woman had to die. She had to die anyway because they're going to go to death, to their death. But she had to run away and make a dead person and death. She had to take care because it's summer, it's very hot. She had to take care of the woman. I walking by myself, pebble on the floor, on the ground, and I'm barefoot. I came to the hospital. There's so many people in the hospital, so many soldiers and everything. And this is the hanky limp, and I am sitting and they were on the bench, and I sat down. A woman came over to me, a nurse. Why are you crying? I showed her the arm. How can I help you? Give me a painkiller. She said, we don't have painkillers. They have only 2 doctors in the hospital, and they both don't care because the Jews that they were killing, they were able to kill, injure a German. So they had to take care of the German. I walked up in the hospital without a thing, without a doctor, without anything, with a cast of my hand. She put it in a cast and gave me a sling, and I went out. That was my document. Because without this, can you see a doctor? No. Can this done with a doctor? No. And I had that means even the girl that I came back, she said, but what am I going to do now? I cannot make my living. The living is only by the hand. On the right hand I can. She said, quiet, keep quiet. I have a job for you. What was the job? Tobacco was very expensive, and they couldn't get, if somebody was a heavy smoker, in order to get that, he would sell anything for that money. They make it little packages at night, husband and wife, and they put me in the corner, and people who were but the driveway, and I spoke but the sidewalk, and I spoke the language. I stopped them, showed them the finger. 5 weeks I ate. She gave me the food. She gave me a place to sleep in the kitchen. And they were husband, young and wife, young couple. I had 5 weeks till this healed. When it's healed, I was able to pull it off. And the minute I left from then and went back to the place that I was in the beginning, because in the beginning, that also the man had to die to give me the place where to live. That was, everything was prepared for me. That it's just so many miracles, so many miracles. After 5 weeks, I came in, and on the evening we were staying. There was one girl, 18 years old, and me, was staying, and 2 men for the other side, and 2 motorcycles stopped with police with flashlight, and looked in the eyes, my eyes and her eyes. And one said to the other, she doesn't fit the description. The description, I know she's not after them. Police with the death. They left, and I saw that they went to a place that I know they're supposed to be not here. I'm going to be the other place. I excused myself. Potatoes were growing very low, and they were wet. The other way, they think yellow. I slipped myself into the potatoes and stayed there till I heard the first cry of the rooster at midnight. I got out, mud, the net went to the hand, in the sleep and everything. I cannot go. Why did you run away? Where did you go? Why did you leave a tent? Who are you? Now there's no way. I can, where do I explain? Every single time, whenever I said something, put that little piece of matcha, put the hand on that piece of matcha and pray to Hashem. Hashem, you kept me for lying. Maybe in schut of my Zayd, in schut of my father, in schut of them, in schut of the rabbi that gave me that little piece of matzah. Help, Hashem, help. Yes, I saw a ladder. I climbed the ladder. I climbed on the ladder. How many do you have now?
You still have time. You have 10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes, so you can make that then. I don't want to overdo it, because they say your time is the time. I have to know. The thing was that but 2 nights I spent without food, without drink, with anything, on the attic. It was hot. The mud that the wet dried. I took, it like that, and shook it out. I was still filthy, but not that much. And from this, I tried with the tears, because I was crying. With the tears, I washed it up. I said, not today. I said, I had to say Shema Yisrael, because I think today I'm going to die. There's no place for me to go. Everything is closed. I climbed up the ladder, sent them. Sure, Hashem sent me another messenger. Every time came another message, another delivery. Eva, why are you crying? I said, I don't know. The police is after me, and I don't know why. Yeah, I know why. You Shedivka. You Shedivka means you are Jewish. I said, who felt such a thing? Who had a chutzpah, a nerve to say that I'm Jewish? He said, look at me. He said, I believe, but the police doesn't believe. The police is after you. Now tell me, how much survival do you, what you say now, that's a survival? He said, can you operate a more atomic machine? I said, I can. NO was never in my vocabulary. He took me out of the city. There were the rumors with everything, took me out. Took me to how do you call it, the Klebania, they call it Klebania. It's, you know, like, that's a name for it anyway. I was there a whole week, sewing, doing everything. They gave me the food, and I slept in the grass because it was very nice outside. I would sleep any place as long as that. While I was there sewing, I overheard a conversation that they had the wrong policeman. His name policeman is Yushko. Do I know that? I just added bits and pieces just in case it's going to come handy. I had no idea, but just in case I kept it in my mind. Sure enough, I did after a week finish. She said, I finished everything, go back. Where do I go? Back to Drohobych, back to the city, but not the place where the people know me already, but another place where people don't know. I knocked from one door to the other. A German lady opened the door. A German lady. I don't care. I thought they give me some food. They give me some food. She gave me 4 little spoons of thread. Ah, now I have thread. I'm going to sell it. I'm not going to buy exchange for another dress. 13 months, I am wearing the same thing. People say that they needn't change in the winter and in the summer and in the spring. I only had what's on my body. I don't have another change of clothes. Can you imagine the miracles that they see him and they don't see it? They were all blindfolded. I was able, one person, I didn't believe another Jew is alive. That's the first of all. I'm going to sell the thread. It was a concert in a marketplace once a week. Who wants to buy thread? Somebody knocked me in my back. I look around, 2 policemen, and I see that they had work because they were in the tie here, 1 German and 1 Ukrainian. But they are like in their late 40s or something, but they see, but they are policemen with the rifle, with the bayonet. First of all, I'm speechless and I'm shaking. And I said, and something clicked in my head and I'm talking. And I talk so fast, like a machine. Like a machine. My mother is dying, my mother is sick, my mother is dying, and I have to run out. Yushko, please help me. I overheard that they have a policeman, Yushko. It was a shot in the dark. He said, how do you know my name? No, you tell me. How did it come? Where did it came from? This was said in Ukrainian. It means run, little girl, wherever your eye carry you. Did you ever hear such a thing? To be with the policeman, the only thing what they do, they're looking for documents. There was a lot of the Russian, because the soldiers left, but they bet the family. The Russian family was still there, but the Germans were occupied. No matter where I went, the police, they're always with me. They were going through and through. At the end, it was that I had to go also. I also ended up in the church. When I came to the church, it was 12 midnight. They had that, but before they had that time, they had to go to church. How do we go to a church? My goodness, I never had an insight that there was TV. In the TV, they showed you at least how it is. I had no idea from a Jewish home with the Stramel, with the Bäckische, to go into a church. But I knew Kriyat Shema by my house, the Kriyat Shema. And my father said, Osmoire, line Krishme. That's not that thing. Osmoire, line Krishme. Shurabach Moire. I put at the hand of that little piece of matzah, and I prayed, and I prayed. Hashem knows that I go there because not I want to go, that I believe in them, that I had to go. Tell me, how was I to be? Monkey see, monkey do. I never them. She done them, I went down. She did this, I did that. And nobody noticed that I copy. I copy everything what she does. There's a lot of stories to tell, but one story I'll tell you. When the war finished, 3 of us survivors. My brother survived also, in a way. There was that they would say they, in the same day, they had to go and I had to go. And there was through 3 other people, one for the other, it became all 3 together. All 3 of us came together. All 3 little pieces, matzahs came together into one place. My brothers and I, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then sit up and crying, tomorrow morning, we're gonna go to the police, we're gonna get shot all together. And we're gonna grave it in one grave. But one thing is gonna be sure, they won't bury me on the cemetery with the Yoshkis. They won't bury me there. Can anybody know what it means to be a Holocaust survivor? Is there anybody in this world that can know that they can went 20 months without anything, without changing, I mean, I get every day I had to go to the pump to want the water. Do I have gloves or do I have I survived because Hashem wanted me to live. 3 of us survived, and 3 of us got married, and 3 of us left Baruch Hashem, I'm the only one left, but they left a beautiful family. They have in Israel, and they lived there with the Buddha empires, and they still come to Yiddishkeit. And now there's one, my brothers Eineke, they then study Yiddish. The mother is Yiddish, and she talked to the little children Yiddish. It was my pleasure just to listen to that. But 3 survivors from one family, and 1 survivor in the ghetto, the whole ghetto of Komarno, 1 woman in the 50s. 1 woman survivor from thousands, and 3 of us survived. Why? Little piece of matzah. That little piece of matzah from the rabbi with the open eyes. Now when I wrote the book for them, in the kavod, they give the rabbi with the open eyes because they start and talk with him. This I gave a touch here and a touch there. But what's everything benight, a lot of that, but I cannot say it in a short time.
You have 2,
I think I get
minutes. You have 2 minutes left. You can still say, so give them a bissel Yiddish, give them a bit, you can tell them the tzad kimt.
Yeah, but 2 minutes.
You have 2 minutes. Give them a final 2 minutes.
2 minutes. My Mama hat allemal gesagt, Kinderler, die Menschen sind also wie der Finger auf der Hand. Siehst, der Finger, alles sind verschieden. Das ist ein bisschen klein, das ist groß, das ist größer. Oder wenn sind sie verschiedene, nur wenn sie stehen, nur der Leichste nieder, liegen sie alle gleich. Alle gleich. Also stehen, also leben, sind der kleinere, der größere, der gute Kleinste, der größeren. Da stehen sie alle gleich.
Tell them in English. Tell them in English now what it means.
Yeah, but the people maybe not everybody understand that. Whoever, when the Yiddish, who did that in Yiddish, it's an alle gleich. But who didn't understand what it means, it means that if they their finger and the hand, and they all different, only when they stand, but they will go when they die, they all die the same way, all the same way. My mother said to say, oh, so vergessen Sie Yiddish? Vergessen Yiddish? No, das ist Yiddish. Das was ich red. Das kann noch Yiddish. And everything was in Yiddish. It's my language. I live with Yiddish and ich bin Yiddish. And if you say Hashem, that the time came, the time doesn't say, whenever that Hashem created us. Whenever he needs the soul, what do we do in the morning? We wake up. We say, you know, bless you, Hashem, they give us the soul back. When you sleep, do you know where the soul goes? You wake up in the morning. And that's what he say. But you say everything, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. You go in the elevator. How are you? Do you know? Do you really care how I am? Baruch Hashem.
Okay, Eva, you have 1 minute. 1 minute, so say goodbye. Now it's time to finish. Give them one. Tell them the tzad kimt mit Alf Magain. Give them one more or something. You have 1 minute. Like 1 minute, Eva. You have 1 minute.
I cannot put in 1 minute. I cannot put in everything.
Okay.
Was der Tatet Mann gesagt und der Mama gesagt und der Mann hat gelernt und der Tat hat man gelernt. man hat gelernt zu sein ein Jid. They taught me to be Yiddish. Wurde so stehen, dass zu wissen eine Sache. Da man da aus mehr, dass sie doch teilen mit anderen. Da man da aus weniger, sagt, man dachte, dann sagen, da heißt es, das tut man alle Haaretz. Das tut man jüdische Haaretz. Aus der jüdischen Nummern, das tut man jüdische Haaretz. So zu wissen, dass man die ist mehr und daran tut weniger, dass das andere ein bisschen besser bezahlt. Mit jeder Sache hat man gelernt, was hat man gelernt in der Heim, aber es ist am hartigen Tag. Die Sachen vergesse ich nicht. Ich kann nicht gedenken an jeder, so wo der Tat hat gesagt, der Mama hat gesagt, der hat gesagt, der hat gesagt. Als ich rede in Jiddisch, bin doch da bei mir in Stieb, bin doch da bei mir in der Heim. That's what I am here. Some people know Yiddish, and some people maybe don't know Yiddish, that they're listening to me. But Jewish is my language. And my Jew I am, and for the Jew I do everything. I never say no to anybody, whoever calls me. I said, Baruch Hashem, I'll be there. Im Yirtzeh Hashem, Im Yirtzeh Hashem. But we say, Bli Neder. Always people say, why do you say Bli Neder? Bli Neder said, I promise without a promise. If I deliver it, it means it's okay, I have the mitzvah. If I don't deliver it, I don't have an abere. Because this is the Bli Neder, without a promise. She said, Ma, they wanted to 14 days. Do I know where I'm going to be? What happened today? What happened yesterday? What happened today? Tomorrow is going to be, it's already, how do you say, a history. But what's going to happen tomorrow to us also the mystery? We don't know that. We don't know. We hope it's going to be okay. We live with hope all our life. We live with hope. This is our thing, the Yiddishkeit, the Amunah. Amunah, Emunah, the Emunah, as they believe, as ein Gott, ein Teure, ein mehr, ein Yiddishkeit. Bist geboren a Yid, just zu sein a Yid.
Wow. Oh. I can't, we can't thank you enough. This was so inspiring. I'm just, to hear your story and for others to hear your story, you're incredible. You are totally incredible and really an inspiration to us, and I'm sure to everybody that you touch. Thank you so much.
Sie macht noch vielen sehr geht. Also ich kann reden noch Jiddisch, ich bin doch nicht gewohnt zu reden Jiddisch. Also ich rede mit dem, dann rede ich meinte Englisch. Aber das zeigt doch nicht. Ich will reden Jiddisch und ich will jeder so verstehen. Und als ich habe so über einige Zeit, ich rede Jiddisch, aber dann gehe ich mit Translation auf Englisch. Der Araber redet doch besser in Englisch. Beide verstehen, die Jiden verstehen und sie verstehen. Die müssen verstehen Jiddisch und die müssen verstehen nicht Jiddisch. Aber wenn ich kann reden nur in Jiddisch, dann kann man gehen.
So you say, Bli Neder, you'll invite her back. She'll speak only in Yiddish.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. Good night. Thank you for staying up.
Dank, vielen Danken. Ja.
Can you?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Dank van de bottom of my heart. Ihr Dank van de Haaret.
Ja.
Dus het Haaret. De mol redt einsach, maar het Haaret redt meer. Het Haaret redt meer. Das mol kann noch retten, aber die bedarf vielen. Also viel zu bist ein Jid, ist das ein Jid. No bedarf vielen. In der gießt daran die ganze Keuches, alles wo der Ost, gießt daran die Jiddischkeit. In der Wiss bringen mehr Jiden zum Jiddischkeit. Man verliert doch das. Hat doch verloren, hat so viel Wert auf in der Heim. Oder als man sagt, man redet jeden Tag. I'm sorry, but die anderen will das nicht verstehen. Ich weiß, eine Schwester, du wirst besser nicht.
But this is the Yiddish Alive group. This is what they started. They want to speak Yiddish. They want to keep Yiddish alive. That's the whole point.
That's right.
No, that's why, this is my ganze Vergnügen. Believe it or not, tomorrow at 9 o'clock, I am moving. The movers are coming to take me up one to the other. Emir Hashem tomorrow morning. But today is the mitzvah. Today, I want to be there. And if I get what's tomorrow Morgen ist es doch Gott sorgen.
Did you get that? Morgen soll Gott sorgen. So tomorrow,
So
he'll talk about it.
we meet every other Monday and we speak Yiddish or we learn Yiddish and Esther, you could give her the contact information and we'd love to have you
We'd
join us.
love to have
The only
you.
thing is you'll see all the little squares on the TV.
Die Jiddisch von der Mulde Zeiten, von der Mulde Zeiten. Der ganze Bus wird gewesen
Immer.
Jiddisch.
Immer. Ze bedarfen verlassen. They have another program. So just say
Oi.
goodbye. Oh,
Okay.
that's
So we're
it.
gonna have to go. Good night. Thank you again.
Thank
It was
you,
just
Adanka.
Inviting
Yeah,
us.
thank you.
Bye-bye. See, okay. He
You
sent me a message. He says, I'm so sorry they have to go because they have another speaker that's waiting. So what he said to you, oh, they're still there. Okay.
we're gonna.